We interrupt this program with a special bulletin from the John Doe Radio Show.
The John Doe Radio Show. John Doe Radio.
Radio. I know you don't smoke weed. I know this. But I'm gonna get you high today. Cause it's Friday, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do.
How much higher can you get?
The human brain is made for thinking, not fumigating. It's hardly a tinker toy for experiments. Experiment with drugs.
Why do we talk about marijuana? It's the single biggest drug that is a source of some confusion.
This is really about educating the public about the fact that marijuana is a less harmful drug.
Marijuana, that's to get high.
You can be as high as you want.
The prohibition of marijuana over the last 71 years has not actually prevented you from using marijuana.
You feel weak.
Closer to winning the war on drugs.
I do believe there have been some successes.
We will never arrest our way out of this problem.
Howdy doody, it's the John Doe Radio Show. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. It is a late start on the show today, and it is going to be a short show today. We're starting about 40 minutes late. It is a Friday, February 17th. I can't be happier than to be sitting here with you guys and to tell you there's a little bit better news hopefully coming up here on Monday. At least for the time being, a little better news that we've been talking about with you here lately. Right away, we're going to give Steve Elliott a call. Hopefully he picks up, and we did not completely screw up things with Steve. But I tell you what, man, saving the show, period, end of story. That's all you guys need to know, okay? So let's give Steve a call here. We're going to talk about news and all that other great stuff. Thank you for joining us. You missed anything, make sure you check us out, johndoeradio.com. Phil's name is no longer fuck. That's loud. Turn that down. Damn. I hope we can get Steve, man.
Hello.
Hey, Steve, it's Tim from the John Doe Radio Show. We're calling you so late, and it's my fault. We just started the show, my friend.
Okay.
Is that okay? Do you got a little bit of time for us today?
Yeah.
Just as much time as you can devote for us. We're good to go, man. I just saw your message on Facebook, and I apologize, my friend. Honestly, is all we're trying to do is keep the John Doe Radio Show rolling, and the past couple of days have been... I've freaked out a little bit, man, honestly, about making sure things go. So, but that's neither here nor there. We have our awesome friend Steve Elliott on the show with us. Steve, you have been so patient with us for so long, and I can't believe the appreciation that I cannot give you right now. I wish I could show up in Oregon or Washington or California sometime and sit down and smoke a bowl with you. So, anyway, good times. Enough of that.
Yeah, you ought to come up to Washington, and it'll be right here where I'm at.
Exactly, and then we'll sit and dab it out and get a little stony, man. I tell you what, something that was interesting was told me this weekend was that Colorado has got it going on when it comes down to the dabs. That, you know, California, some locations are good, but I think it's Colorado, Oregon, Washington. Man, I don't know. We kind of refined this little game.
It seems to have caught on in L.A., too, at the High Times Cup. Jack Rikus, my correspondent there, said that it was quite prevalent there.
I was hearing, though, that there was still a little bit of a less quality, man. People from Colorado, and it's not just Colorado, you know, or other people, too, not just from Colorado, coming in and saying that it was a little like, it was like they got a little bit of ways to go, and that may be because some of the rules they have in Cali, you know, with them being able to use certain concentrations. Technically, I think you're only supposed to be making water hash, so, I mean, that may be part of it. Here, everybody's just wilding out on BHO and ISO, and it's like, it's crazy. So, once again, no knocking on Cali at all. Mad love, respect. We wouldn't be here today without Cali. So, Steve Elliott from tokeofthetown.com and SeattleWeekly.com. You're still doing stuff for Seattle Weekly, Steve?
Yes, I am.
And in doing stuff for Seattle Weekly, your gig is called Smoke Signals.
Toke Signals.
Toke Signals. Jesus. Sorry about that, buddy. Toke Signals. And you got kind of the same sort of gig that the man himself, William Breeze, has here in Denver. One of only two in the entire nation that get to do what you get to do. You get to get out and review dispensaries, shops, and review edibles and stuff like that. And so that's still been going good. And you found any brand new places or anything else that's been caught your mind?
Yeah, I was at a good shop in Lake City Way, which is North Seattle, called Greenside Medical over the weekend, and they are actually a well-run shop, and they have some really good afgoo.
Afgoo. You know who else is really cool up there? We've mentioned her a couple days here on the show, and her giving free advertising to them because she is so cool. And honestly, I mean, there's not very many ladies I see that post up a lot and they're so interested about the greens. You know, we have Rachel Schaefer here locally that does some great work with posting up, you know, these are the facts, this is what you do, yada, yada. You know, sometimes people are put in certain locations for looks or whatever, you know. And I got to give a big shout out since you're now on the show that she always comes in and listens. Amy Banksky from Rainier Wellness, man. You've got a good friend over there with her, so that's pretty cool.
Amy's great, and the thing about it is when you go into Rainier Wellness, whether it's the first time you've been there or whether you're a regular customer, Amy knows how to make you feel welcome, and she knows how to direct you towards the meds that you need. If you just tell her a little bit about what you're facing and what you're looking for, she can definitely help you. If we had more knowledgeable, friendly bud tenders like Amy on the scene, we'd be better off for it. Yeah,
it's cool. She's gonna think I have an amazing crush on her, and I can't.
She's easy on the eyes as well. Yeah,
she's very easy on the eyes, and so no, but nothing but mad respect there, and nothing like that. So I also got to say hi to Robin on that, because otherwise she'll wring my neck later when I talk to her. So yeah, it's awesome, man.
Our relationships, huh?
You know what is up. You know what is up. I love you, Steve, man. It's been a rough couple of days, man, to be honest with you. And I could not wait to give you a call and just get away from everything and talk about some cannabis and just relax. And Phil, huh? Like, you're like, this dude needs to just, like, get like just some relaxation, you know? So what's been going on this week, man? What do you got for us? What can you update with us that we missed and we didn't quite catch up on? And, let's go from there. tokeofthetown.com, by the way, is pretty much the only source of news that you should go to Toke of the Town every day and read Steve's updates, period.
I don't know what it is about the state of Florida, but I seem to get so many funny, weird stories from down there. And last night I noticed another one and put it up on Toke of the Town where some cops are complaining about the marijuana odor from their evidence room.
Steve, let me interrupt you here for a second. I'm sorry, and remember that there for a second. But there's a website called fark.com. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it. FARK.
Yeah, and they have their little tags on the side, you know, like whatever the tag is, you know, like news or whatever, and then these little like funny tags. And they used to have tags that had like, you know, boobies, and then at the end it'd say, you know, in quotations, NFSW, you know, or whatever. And they have a Florida tag. So I mean, yeah, there's Florida's a crazy place. So if this place has a Florida tag, this website alone, that's news, you know that Florida's a crazy place. So, all right. Sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
It seems like they get more than their share of weirdness somehow. But anyway, these particular cops are all complaining about how strong the odor is. And, of course, you know, that would be one thing if they were just complaining because they didn't like to smell pot. But what's also going on is they're over-dramatizing the situation, as cops can be prone to do sometimes when it comes to pot, by saying that they don't want anybody to get hurt and that this could be dangerous. You know, it's the smell of marijuana. It really isn't going to hurt anybody, whether or not they enjoy smelling it. But basically what they're going to get out of it in the immediate future is they're going to spend $6,000 on a new air filtration system. And what's in the works is to move into a new $5 million building because they don't like to smell that pot in the evidence room.
You know, it's funny when they came into my house and they raided my house and stuff, in the police report was like the police left with headaches from the marijuana odor, and one of them had to visit an emergency official, you know, to see if he was okay.
Poor baby.
Oh, I know. It's like, yeah, dude. I was cooking some meth up in that business, and you burnt your lungs and you couldn't even breathe. They were like, it was such a strong odor of marijuana in his house, it made me sick. My head hurt. I felt like I was dizzy. I'm like, maybe it's because you came upstairs right after I got done blazing a big fatty on my birthday. You son of a bitch.
They had good timing with that one, didn't they?
Yeah, and they here's the funny thing too. I was playing NASCAR. I'm like on my steering wheel. I'm like riding. I just got done with a race, and I'm sitting there smoking, having good times. I'm like, and all of a sudden I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm like, I gotta take a piss. I'm sorry, ladies out there. We're sitting playing games, having fun. The race got over. The whole race I gotta go, and I'm like, finally, I get up to go to the bathroom, and I have the remote control in my hand because the steering wheel was whatever. He's got the buttons and stuff. I have the black PlayStation remote control in my hand, and all I hear is bam, bam, bam. I thought I was getting robbed. Turned around to go actually grab my gun. Mm-hmm. Who knows what would have happened? Who's coming through the door? And then I heard police, and that's when I stopped and I turned back around halfway down the stairs. Dropped the I don't even know if I dropped the controller. I really don't remember at that point in time. But who knows? What if they'd have seen that black controller in my hand, and when I went to go raise my hands, pop, 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 pop.
That could have been it for Tim, and I'm glad you didn't get your gun out, because if you had been holding a gun, I don't think that you would be with us.
And the only reason why, ladies and gentlemen, it's all right to have a weapon, and I'm fully for 100%. I don't know how you feel about firearms and stuff like that, but I'm 100% gun rights. I'm 100% for fully automatic weapons in a certain licensing situation. I feel it's part of our constitutional, whatever. But we're not going to get off on that, man. It just bugs me on how much lately that it's like the ones who really don't need the guns are the ones that are going to get it. And that's period, end of story. I know what I was going to say. People, if you do have a gun and you do whatever, if you're a medical marijuana patient, there's only a few states that have okayed it. You should know how to store your gun, okay? And the only reason I didn't get charged, and I'm sitting here with you right now, not 8 years in prison, mandatory minimum, is because there was not something chambered, okay? Store your gun right. It was properly stored. I think they might have respected that, and then thankfully they didn't charge me. But if you would have had that chambered, ready to go, don't matter. It would have been 8 years. So anyway, moving on to some other stuff. So I don't want to get on my personal life. We've already talked so much about my personal life here lately this past week, and we want to make sure that we get on some news. So what's going on, Steve?
The mother in Oklahoma that got the 8-year sentence for selling $31 worth to an informant, she is going to get an early hearing with the parole board.
Is this besides Patricia Spotted Crow?
Patricia Spotted Crow, yes.
Oh, wow.
26 years old, mother of 4. And it looks like in April she's going to get to go to the parole board, and that's well before she would have otherwise been able to do so. And apparently one of the people on the parole board was aware of her case and was concerned enough about it that he kind of put it through, and now she gets her chance to possibly have a chance at an early release.
That almost brings me to tears at this point, man. I'm an emotional guy here lately, but honest to God, every single person listening to this show, thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much, because I'll tell you what, it don't matter if that parole person would have heard, maybe that parole person would have heard her story eventually or whatever and would have felt bad then, but I tell you what, without every single last god dang one of you mofos that gets up and says something, and without you, Steve, writing the stories about it, without me talking about it, without us going off on it, that makes me feel so good, man. Thank you for telling me that story. That's a fantastic story. She does not deserve to be in there. She got a hose deal to sit here, and the fact to give her grandma, her mom, the kid's grandma, the kid, and send the mom away to jail to learn a lesson, like, okay.
They even gave the grandma a 30-year suspended sentence, so if she screwed up at all, she'd be subject to serving 30 years.
Yeah, and
but here's the good news. There is something people can do right now to help Patricia Spotted Crow at that April parole board hearing. On the Toke of the Town story that I have up, and also there's a Facebook group Free Patricia Spotted Crow.
Yeah.
It gives the addresses of the 5 members of the Oklahoma Parole Board.
Okay.
And if you can write a letter and make 5 copies and send it to all 5 of those, the addresses are at the end of the article on Toke of the Town. That might have an impact if you can just honestly describe how you feel this is an injustice to put this young mother in prison for such a long time for $31 worth of pot.
Yes, and it's insane, and we haven't reported on it yet, and I don't think it's happened yet, but the first person that gets sentenced to life in Oklahoma for making hash or making edibles in the year 2012 is going to be a day that that every single one of us, I mean, we all have a responsibility to, I mean, I say this and I know it'll never happen, but every single stoner has a responsibility to show up at that prison that day and demand that he get out and never leave until he is let out, or he or she let out, because it's so disgusting. A life sentence for making hash, a life sentence. You got Newt Gingrich talking about, back in 97 or whatever, people bringing marijuana into the country, and other drugs should be put to death. It's like, how sick are you people? Are you people are so full of egotistical and moral misguidance and whatever you've gone that you truly believe this?
We
God
really
help us.
have to do something.
God help us. Go ahead,
We can't stand
Simon.
for that.
Yeah, we can't stand for it. And what's frustrating, dude, is it looks like we're either going to end up with, and I haven't checked the polls, but it looks like we might end up with, obviously Obama. Have you checked the polls? Does it? I know you're not a huge Republican fan. Let me check the Republican polls here. I think we might.
Santorum appears to be threatening to take Michigan.
Yeah, and that's what I'm seeing is that it looked like, here's the funny thing is, and we're getting off a little bit on here, but this really does affect marijuana because whoever comes in is going to affect huge policy. Mitt Romney could be the president of the United States, and I think at the last minute, something happens with him. Like he didn't get the nod last time when I think he should have probably got the nod over who was it? It was the older gentleman that has the heart issues, and I can't think right now. And dang it, damn it, not Dick Cheney, but someone. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the bottom line is, McCain doesn't have heart issues. He's just McCain. So we're either gonna, it does look like we're either going to end up with Santorum or
Romney.
Yeah, Romney, and that's. Colorado voted for Santorum inside our little voting thing, and if you really read into and see what he's about, it's like what this country wants changed and it wants proper change. Yet it's like we keep the pendulum swings from one end to the other, and they expect it to stop in the middle at some point in time, and you're electing people that aren't willing to stop in the middle. Like, how do we fix that? I'm getting a little lost into whatever, and I'm frustrated because I hope I don't want Obama in office, but I also don't want Santorum, and I don't want I want any of these guys in office. I want Steve Elliott to be president of the United States. God dang it!
My campaign fund is a little low at the moment.
Yeah, fuck the campaign fund. If we were to get you in, it'd be a lot better. It'd be cool because we'd have everything taken care of. As far as the green side, and you'd be the man, but then you'd have a staff to take care of the serious stuff. I mean, it's not like Obama doesn't sit here and make every single decision himself. I'm kidding. We totally need a Steve Elliott, someone like you, to be in office. So, that's a great story to hear of Patricia's Spotted Crow situation. Hopefully, something happens with her mother. And I think last week we also mentioned to you the prank inmate ad by the inmates on the pig on the police cars. Did we talk about that last week?
We briefly mentioned it. Yeah. It's really funny.
I just want to thank you again for. It's still up on my screen, and I love it. I thank you very much for it. So that's awesome. It cracks me up every time I see it.
I knew people were going to love that story when I found it in the local paper from up there.
Yeah. We see a drive also on Toke of the Town right now. Drive launched to inform voters of Obama's hostility to marijuana. I think we already know, obviously, a lot of us know that he's worse than Bush when it comes down to cannabis. The raids, the situations that we've happened. I mean, it's a scary situation, but honestly, Obama's been worse than Bush. So,
with Bush, at least you knew where he was coming from.
Yeah,
he never pretended to be on our side.
Yeah, at least you saw the punch.
That's what makes it so confusing with Obama is because he started out talking out of one side of his mouth and now he's talking out the other side.
Punk ass. I'm sorry I'm calling the president names here and stuff. I'm having Secret Service knocking on my door. Not only the sheriff's office, which is a whole another story and some awesomeness. Says, if you guys only knew, if you only knew the life of. I hope, Steve, I hope you have a peaceful life, man, and there's not too many problems that people give you too much, and that you honestly get to sit in your house and toke and not worry too much about any issues.
I get to do that at least, which I'm very thankful for. The most flack I ever catch is online from people who disagree with my strongly stated viewpoints.
Yeah.
So I guess that just lets me know I'm alive, though. So
yeah.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah, fark 'em. We got to get a John Doe radio show, something on the side. I know that you're part of Village Voice and stuff, but maybe we'll have to go for your Village Voice and actually see that you do have a fark.com little widget on here. That's pretty cool. Yeah, fark.com and stuff. So maybe we'll have to work out something and get in a John Doe radio show, at least the days that you're on it. Make sure that people, can click on that when they go to Toke of the Town and stuff so that they can hear you. So did you...
That actually sounds like a pretty good idea. We should probably explore that.
Yeah, we definitely should. And that comes from me That comes from me just wanting to have good talks. I don't care about money, none of this stuff. I just care about having good talks, having good times with good people. Did you get to go to the Cup?
I did not. I sent my Northern California guy, Jack Reikus, down there, and he got to have all the fun while I slaved away at the office. What
did he bring back? Did he? Not as far as what he bring back, but what'd you hear back? What'd you hear back about it?
He had a lot of fun, and he's got a story along with a bunch of pictures up on Toke of the Town right now about his adventures down there. So it's a great way to get a look at the Cup for those of us who missed it.
Yeah.
To read Jack's article.
Yeah, and I heard it was a very fun Cup. I heard it was really cool. There was a lot of really great parties and a lot of really great times. I hear the Hitman. I already knew the Hitman crew wow out like crazy, but I won't repeat any of the stories. Obviously, I'm not going to call them out, but I tell you what, the Hitman crew and them kids, I wish that I'd be in their spot. They're killing it. Like, oh my goodness, Phil, I'll tell you afterwards. Crazy. So if I was in their spot, I'd probably be doing the same thing. Another thing that really encourages me, Steve, that you've posted up a lot of lately is you've taken these infographics and kind of run with them. One thing, and right now, I'm absolutely 100% not at all happy or supportive at Normal. I would ask that if you are going to support us at all, or if you're going to support somebody, please send Steve, talk to Steve Elliott, see if he can do something, or please help us up at the John Doe Radio Show. Okay, hopefully Normal and I can make amends, but my feelers are hurt. But fuck that even more so. We did wrong, and we still ain't been communicated back to it. So you know what, Normal, if you're listening and Rush, and everybody's listening to, there's some things that I've heard in between that there's still not a situation that's been fixed. And sorry, Steve, to put you in the middle of this, but day after day goes on, I start to get a little bit more angry about it, and the more that I hear about it. So,
well, the fact remains that Normal is not perfect, and they make mistakes. But the problem being that they are slow to own their mistakes, and they usually won't apologize for them.
And I hear Alan.
I think they got, while they were the only show on the block for so many years, maybe they got a little bit arrogant or something. But they think that they can shut down any opposing viewpoints in this community, and maybe that was the case 20 years ago, but it's not that way anymore.
Yeah. And
so when Normal screws up, they can expect to be called on it, and they're not, the golden calf anymore that you can't say anything about. We are allowed to criticize Normal, and of course you found out in an unfortunate and unpleasant way their reaction to that rather than anything productive.
Yeah, and this goes nothing towards Russ. Me and Russ we've had our tiffs before, and I won't bring up that, and we've corrected it, and obviously wish the best for Russ. And getting on to anything, stories I just heard from Normal and Normal covering the event and stuff, I think is where I was going on to. I don't know. I lost my train of thought. Getting back to this infographic situation, I really have enjoyed the infographics that you have put up, because me as a sort of, I'm like a hands-on, do it, look at it type of learner, like it's my comprehension for sitting down and reading things sometimes. It's like, it's obviously everybody knows I got this crazy anxiety and I can wail out sometimes. It's hard for me to sit down and focus, but you get these infographics on, and it's like, you got right here, it's like the 3 most abused drug classes. And then you've got another infographic here. It says 1991, 5 million people. Between 1991 and 2010, prescription stimulants use increased from 5 million, and then now to 2010 to 45 million people.
That's a big difference there. That's a 9-fold increase in the number of people who are being given out legal stimulants.
And it's crazy. And you know what? They don't. I went into the doctor's office the other day, and I got some stuff taken care of. And not to call anybody out, the doctor took care of me, and it was like, maybe this is how it should go. The doctor, takes into consideration, maybe what's helped you before and yada, yada, yada. But it was like, going into a doctor's office, any doctor's office, sitting down and hearing how they're smart people. They've gone to school for a long time, so they got a lot of experience, but how little sometimes they know and understand is scary. And why I feel so great about this doctor is I also got my medical marijuana card renewed through him, so he understands that too. So, no bad sayings there, and especially if D-Money you're listening, nothing getting misconstrued there. So it's just making a point that doctors are so happily to say, oh, you need this, here you go. Especially we were talking about Florida, pill mills.
Mm-hmm. Well, if those decisions that the doctor makes when he decides to prescribe you medication, if they were based strictly on medical concerns, then I would be less worried about them. But the fact is that those big pharmaceutical companies are, in effect, bribing doctors to prescribe more of their medications by giving out these big golf trips, these vacations, all of these perks and all of these kickbacks. And what that amounts to, in the end, is a lot of doctors have been corrupted by the kinds of prices that Big Pharma can give you if you prescribe enough of their pills. So at that point, the decision to prescribe you medication becomes less about what you need and more about putting another number on this chart here so he'll get that bonus from the pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, sorry, Steve. I just got a weird attack of a migraine, man. I'm feeling like I'm about ready to be sick here for some reason. It's been a weird, crazy cast couple of days, so everything you said is just valid, but I missed everything that you had just said, so I'll go back and I'll listen to it. But the other thing that's extremely important is that these infographics are... We need these. We need these. It's enough of the damn numbers, and that's where I was also going to talk about maybe with Russ and Normal and stuff, and no hard feelings between me and Russ necessarily, but it's not like the words are doing too much. It's that we want to see pictures. Russ creates the good pictures. You've got these pictures that you've got from other spots and taken care of. 40 people die a day from narcotic prescription overdoses. 40 people. 40. Okay, that may not seem like a big number out of the millions of people, that the entire world and country. Dude, I'm losing it. That may not seem like a big number, but I tell you what, what's marijuana's number?
Yeah, if marijuana had 40 deaths in a year, can you imagine the kinds of press and government hysteria that we would be facing about that? It would be a crisis at that point. It would be called an epidemic. They would pass worse laws against it. They would throw more people in jail. But since this is legal prescription narcotics, and since Big Pharma is getting their cut from it, not really a lot of attention is paid to the fact that 40 people every day die from these pharmaceutical narcotics. Every day.
Yeah, damn it. God dang it. I forget I'm on cam sometimes. I'm sitting here like holding my head, looking like a jackass. Like probably people are sitting here thinking like, what the hell is going on with Tim? And I hate cameras. The only camera I don't hate is Filicello over here, man. And we didn't get to that, did I? Yeah, Phil Philman is just not a respectable name, in my opinion, anymore. We're just gonna call him Filicello. Is that cool, Phil? That's like super respectful that I can think of. You know, like a Filicello, like Italian piece that's added to the side of a glass piece. I'm probably sounding like an idiot here because you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. So sorry, Steve. You have been in this community and have earned your stripes way longer than I. So hopefully someday I'll be able to have the exposure and have the awesomeness that you do have, because you have some huge exposure, man. You're killing it. Everything that you do, I don't care what anybody says about whatever, dude, about the way that you talk about things, the way that you put things. It's real.
Something's working at some level, obviously. So I'm just going to leave it at that as far as that goes.
Yeah.
But we were talking about the dangers of pills. You know, those aren't just pharmaceuticals, or rather, they aren't just prescription pills that are dangerous. These over-the-counter pills can kill you, too. 100 people die every year from Tylenol overdoses.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, and I almost made a Facebook post about it, and then I realized, a lot of people would be interested in knowing this, so I made it into a Toke of the Town article, and that thing has went nuts online over the past couple of days. It's the #1 story on Dig right now, and has gotten 25,000 page views, so hopefully a lot more people are educated that they can die from Tylenol. And, of course, I compared that to the 0 deaths ever from marijuana.
Yeah, and that's, acetaminophen. I sit here and, like last night, my kidneys are killing me, my left kidney, because I hadn't ate a whole bunch during the day. I was trying to drink a lot, and I'm like, just like kind of today, all of a sudden this shit just comes on. And cannabis is great. Cannabis is fantastic, helps my stomach out. But in an emergency situation, man, I gotta chew up a migraine, or I got see how bad my shiz is right now. I gotta chew up an Excedrin, and it's gotten over the years. I've had to chew up so many that it's just flat out calcium coated shiz, man. And like I was having some pain last night, and cannabis. I don't know where I'm going. Cannabis doesn't fix everything. It is a great thing. It is a great tool. We just need to get people to understand it. I'm losing it quick, man. I'm sorry.
You all right, man?
Steve, honestly, to goodness, man, with all the crap that we've dealt with lately and that people just don't understand and don't know, and I'm not even trying to call anybody out, and I'm not even trying to talk smack to anybody. I'm done with this. I made amends with Miguel Lopez here the other day, which is, just crazy. Whether or not I agree with him or not, I'm done with trying to have issues with people, and I'm not done with calling out stupid people with situations if situations get a little dumb, but I am done with getting to the point where you stop talking to each other and then stupid things are being said, and Steve, you, Pam, Scott from Rare Dankness, Derek Cummings, Adam Dunn, there's just William Breeze, Mark Emery, there's just I can't even name the amount of names that keep me sitting here at this table every day, or whether it's going to be, at my house or whatever, wherever it is, man. You people are the people that have led the road and have let me do this.
Well, there are a lot of inspirations for me, too, and sometimes it's not just the big names in the movement, but it's people in the trenches. It's those people that repost those articles on Facebook. It's those people that make supportive comments and that help you get the word out. Sometimes they don't get a lot of attention, but they are working just as hard as any of us, and they are a vital part of this movement, and they are actually the ground troops of this revolution in perceptions that we are a part of here when it comes to cannabis. We couldn't do without those people. People like Shani Lemmy on Facebook.
Yeah.
They inspire me. When I wake up in the morning, if I want to feel motivated, if I want to feel purposeful, if I want to feel focused, I look at what they're doing, to very little acclaim, to very little fame. They're doing it because it's the right thing. They're doing it because they believe in it, and they're doing it because they want the truth to prevail in this debate. That is important. That is inspiring to me, and that's what keeps me going.
All right. I got Warren just came in here and told me that Governor Gary Johnson is going to be at a Wells. Wait, sit down here. Sit down. We can't. I mean, that's dumb to have you sit here and repeat over whatever. We got some brand new news here. This is big news actually here. And sorry to interrupt you, Steve, but this is big.
Sorry to interrupt you, Steve, but I just got a call from Vicente Consulting.
By the way,
office.
Warren Edson, WarrenEdson.com.
And thanks, Tim. I think as you're following the whole story there, Mason's initiative here had fallen a few signatures short, and so they have a press conference today at 1 o'clock where they were allegedly going to be announcing turning in an additional 12,000 signatures, which should cover the 2,000 to 3,000 they need to qualify for the ballot.
Yeah, the percentage should work out, especially how hard they work to get true signatures.
Yes, they worked really hard.
Very hard.
The breaking news is it was just announced like 10 minutes ago that Governor Johnson is going to be there. And
Governor Gary Johnson,
presidential candidate,
two-term governor,
to both be part of this press conference today and to officially endorse it. So
officially,
it's great that he's lending his star power to it. That's actually a good thing.
I'm voting for Gary Johnson. I am going to vote for Gary Johnson.
You know, if you're one of the MMCs or you're a patient listening and you're in downtown Denver, you have about 45 minutes to get down there. But my understanding is he's going to be speaking. He is a great speaker. It is definitely worth going down there.
Very friendly.
It looks like mid-50s today, sunny. Go check it out.
It's a fantastic day outside. And here's the thing is, like, you're approaching a two-term governor that if he could have still been in office, would still be in office.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fantastic businessman. He's really somebody we need as president. I'm going to vote for him. And here's another thing, though, about him is he is extremely friendly and approachable. Extremely.
Anybody in Denver, I would encourage you
go do this.
To go to this speech. Gary Johnson is a great speaker. Warren's right about that. I saw Gary Johnson speak at Hempstalk last year.
Awesome.
And he gave a really good message there and got the crowd going. He's worth your while. If you're in Denver, go see him.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I wanted to be rude enough to come in here and interrupt, because I just got that call and we wanted to let anybody know who's out there.
If you ever
hang up on Tim right now, listen later, and go check out.
For real. I mean, we'll have this going on. There'll be plenty of time for you guys to be able to listen to the show. But if you ever say be rude and come and interrupt the show again, unless you come in to interrupt the show and actually absolutely say nothing, then you can never be rude, Warren. I mean,
no problem, man.
I tell everybody that I sit in between two of the most amazing lawyers in that could exist, and there's a reason for that. You know, I mean, and honestly, Warren's even before we got here, Warren's taking care of the community and watched people on Facebook and kind of said, hey, and Warren's got a. People talk smack about lawyers all the time, and
mainly me.
And fuck you for talking smack about lawyers. I mean, whatever. You need a lawyer.
Comes with the territory, man. It's not the biggest deal.
But so what? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you have a huge heart.
Oh, thanks, man.
You're a defense lawyer with a huge heart. So that's what's great. So thank you very much for that information, and that's huge. No word on any letters today yet, because we were thinking maybe we might be seeing some letters today.
I'm thinking it's next week.
Next Friday?
My money's on Wednesday to Friday slot next week, because it's a week from Sunday is the official D-Day, and they will probably try to get them there before Friday, and then we'll see what rumor's true, whether it ends up being parks or schools in terms of this round too.
Steve, we'll probably at that point in time they'll also start dealing with the first round. They'll give that second round, and they'll also fire.
Well, it's a week from Sunday. It is D-Day for that first round.
We will probably start to see some Fed action here happen within the next month or two, unless they are just straight out, and I don't want to say the word bluffing, because I don't think they're bluffing one bit at all, or they are willing to work with us in our community because they know they're going to lose.
The round one letters, I don't think they're willing to work with us at all. So you listeners are aware, the round one letters specifically focused on schools.
So you get the fuck out or you're going to get busted, period, end of story.
I'm going to be the anti-Corey here and say yes. I given what's been said, I don't think they can't come in and kick everybody's ass a week from Sunday without looking like fools. Granted, we can argue endlessly that they are fools.
They are
fools.
But,
they're aware of the public perception. And we have an attorney general here, U.S. Attorney General, in John Walsh, whose reputation is that he is, better or worse, a man of his word. And so at the point, kind of people point at him and say, BS, you're not really going to do it. He's probably going to do it. So your listeners are aware, again, this first round of letters is approximately 23 and went out to medical marijuana centers, our retail stores here in Colorado, that are within 1,000 feet of schools K through 12, and actually included a university here.
Yeah.
No matter how you measure, whether you use Denver's measurements, Fort Collins measurements, Colorado Springs measurements, the Fed's measurements, these were folks that had been grandfathered through. And there's an ongoing debate here in Colorado and a rumors flying as to whether or not this next round of letters that is allegedly coming in the next week is going to focus on another round of schools or on parks. Right now, my money is on parks.
Yeah, and for people that don't know, we talked about it. Federal Boulevard is considered a park down the middle because they have that crazy median and stuff. Can you believe that, Steve? Federal Boulevard is an extremely busy. It's about as close to a highway as you can get at certain points in time, and it literally is a highway pretty much. And they consider this thing a park.
Well, it's all about funding. You have trees in the median, and you have grass and flowers and other stuff going on.
A park, Steve, a park.
Yeah, but see, somebody has to pay for that and keep that upgraded.
So I should be able to set up and have a picnic in the middle of all that, right?
No, not exactly. But they need somebody to pay for it, and so they assign it to Parks and Rec, and so that those guys take care of it. Now, we are hoping, because again, we don't know what the hell they're going to do, and nobody's communicating here, and they aren't holding press conferences like they did in California. But we are hoping they stick to their general definition of something like free apparatus and or an area where children focus around, meaning a baseball field and or swing sets, that kind of stuff. As we talked about the other day, Tim, the Doomsday Map looks at about 165 to 175 of our 270 centers getting hit by parks in its broadest definition. That number drops to about 120 centers when we narrow that definition down to, places with swing sets. But it's still 120 of 270. That'll knock our numbers down considerably and knock some people who've invested time, money, effort, and heart into this business out of the game.
Yeah, and I talked with Deborah was here with the Healing Center, which formerly of the Healing Center, one of the first places to get straight up T-balled off, set up on a tee and just knocked right out the park. Undeservingly. I'm correct, right?
Yeah, well, they the whole Westminster thing bit them in the ass because Westminster said no to all of you and didn't want any grandfathering through. Now, that's partly because Westminster in the legal world is renowned for the most insane city attorney's office in the state of Colorado, Westminster.
Also
crazy ass shit. There's a fabulous appellate court case that all law students in Colorado get to read, where the judge literally said it was like Alice through the looking glass and kept referring to the male city attorney as Alice throughout the opinion. One of their city's infamous arguments is that because they're a municipality and this is a home rule state, the state constitution doesn't apply to them at all.
And that's how crazy home rule.
Search and seizure, Steve. They don't believe search and seizure rules apply to them.
Dude, Steve, people pick and choose here in Colorado what home rule applies. Like, this state is crazy with home. I talk about home rule being a big thing in this state, and don't touch my water, whiskey, weed, guns now. Home rule is insane.
And that particular community has taken it to the farthest extreme and has a city attorney's office that reflects that extreme. And they continue to get pounded down by the appellate court. And it is a constant chatter on the Colorado Defense Bar. Just every time a newbie goes in there, we just go, oh my God, you have no idea.
Noob.
You're not going to believe what you go into.
Noob.
Did they really say the Constitution doesn't apply? Yes, they actually did. They actually said you're not free from search and seizure. Yeah.
We got some interesting things coming up on here. I enjoy being in here with you and being able to talk with Warren Edson, warrenedson.com, if you would like to go get updates and find out all the information that you can, or if unfortunately you need to pick up someone like Warren. Not in a situation. You always want to have a lawyer on retainer for your dispensary and stuff. But if you need a criminal defense lawyer, you need someone like that. There's Chris Matz. There's Warren. There's Lauren up in the Aspen. I about said Spreckenridge.
Well, and the other thing is, we just launched earlier this week a phone mobile website. So even if you don't need an attorney, Greg busts his ass every day to get some of the latest Colorado news out on that website. And now you can pull it up on your phone, and it's this cool thing comes up, and you just click on Colorado news, and there's the day's news.
We got to connect that to JDR, man. And then Steve Elliott, obviously, here with toketheTown.com. And I don't think they're...
next week, iCannabis Radio's mobile website will launch. So people will be able to click on that, and it'll launch you to JDR's Ustream.
Really?
Yeah, really.
People have been a little bit worried about the Ustream. It's been trying to perfect it a little bit so we could, because there's the stuff we got going on in the coding and stuff. I'm a little new. It's new.
We can always jump back.
This learning new digital stuff is just crazy. I went to broadcasting school. I went to broadcasting school in 2004, but then since between 2004 and now,
light years.
Nothing exists. It's like it was like, you're like. I'm not even going to compare anything because I'm too young to even compare too much. But Steve, I mean, I'm with everything you're doing there in Seattle. What's the situation like been there? Because I know we talked a lot about the problems that they were having there. I mean, have you heard anything else about raids, or if they laid off, or?
I haven't heard anything about more DEA raids in Seattle. They kind of took a couple of black eyes in the last round because of the methods they used. I mean, you had ridiculous things like DEA agents hiding for 2 weeks outside the dispensaries, taking account of customers going in and out, making comments on they didn't think they looked sick enough, and ridiculous stuff like that. So they kind of took a beating, not just for me, but also in the mainstream press for that last round of raids. I don't know what they're planning to do next. I hope nothing. I think the news here in Washington, as far as brand new breaking stuff, is that National Normal has decided to endorse I-502, which is our voter initiative to legalize. That'll be on the ballot in November. But of course, as we talked about, there are certain problems with that, including no home cultivation for recreational people. Patients' right to cultivate up to 15 plants will be unaffected. But I-502 won't give anybody who doesn't already get to grow the right to grow at home. And, of course, there's also the DUI provision that would be really bad for patients since it's 5 nanograms per milliliter, and all of us practically would be illegal all the time to drive.
Not practically.
Steve,
not practically would be.
Decided they're going to endorse that thing, and they did so today without even mentioning the DUI provision, without mentioning no home cultivation, or without mentioning, in fact, that there are any problems at all with the
behaving.
Warren now.
Hey, Steve, do you know if you'll have to excuse me, is that 5 nanogram limit per se, meaning once you break it, you're automatically guilty? Or is that something where you get to present evidence that you weren't intoxicated?
It is per se, and that makes it even worse, of course. If you're over 5, you are guilty.
Fucking bullshit.
So, yeah, I mean, basically,
God,
we've seen from William Bree's work here last year.
You can't pass the 5 nanogram limit as a regular patient. You just can't be done.
If you're a daily user, you cannot.
Period. End of story.
And here's the thing: when Normal endorsed that today, they didn't mention that particular problem. They didn't mention that problem exists at all. If you read their press release, you would think everything is just hunky-dory with I-502, and that we're full speed ahead and there are no problems. That's misleading.
And
unfortunately, average Joe Stoner guy is just going to read that press release and go out and vote for it, and then be bit in the ass next year when he gets pulled over. And oh man!
And see, here's the problem: is it's not just and no hating on Normal here. This is Normal. Everybody else. The fact is, there's 2 different things here. We have to get legislation passed for legalization, and we have to protect medical marijuana patients and stuff. Legalization, we can bend at some knees for it. We can do whatever. But I tell you what, man, there's certain things that we cannot trade rights for. Trading...
Driving. You're going to trade driving for marijuana use.
No, and it's not even driving. It's giving up your rights. In Colorado, the law would have allowed you... You would have been kept in jail 20 days. 20 days... until they prove. I mean, you could have bailed out, but if you couldn't bail out, legally they could have kept you until they proved your nanogram and the tests come back. I mean, it's crazy. And
yeah.
I know you're holding your. I know you're holding your.
Yada, yada,
I know you're holding your tongue. I am too. I am frustrated as hell.
The 5
with
nanogram
it.
thing doesn't work. I mean, and we'll just lay it on the table. It doesn't work.
And if you want to talk normal, then Alan needs to call me because I think Alan's the one that pulled the plug on our show. So
whatever. Don't
we don't need to get into it. I'm just the past couple of days I've been wilding out about a little bit about it, and mad love to Russ Belville, dude. Just period, end of story. Mad love to Russ Belville and the stuff that he does. I mean, I know there's been some whatever, but we're trying to do the same thing.
Okay, off that topic, Steve. So we have that piece
get back
of,
to Steve here.
But then I heard bad rumors today that this state bill that would create some kind of distribution system for patients is also in rocky grounds or is dead.
Right. That bill died in the Washington legislature for all practical purposes. That would have formalized legalization of dispensaries here.
Okay.
It also would have set up a voluntary patient registry in that you didn't have to register if you didn't want to. But if you did register with the state, you would have arrest protection, which patients have never had in the 14 years of our medical marijuana law. As it is now, all we get is affirmative defense. But anyway, that appears to be dead in the legislature. It could theoretically come back during the budget process, but State Senator Jean Cole Wells doesn't expect that to happen. She says that it appears to be gone this time. So that'll be at least another year that we are operating with what we have currently.
And for those of you who don't speak lawyer, affirmative defense means that the cops can arrest you, charge you. You can potentially have to bond out, and then you have to prove in a pretrial hearing.
Basically, you have to prove in a hearing through, it's not protection right off the bat.
Yeah. We compare it to the go away at the door defense, meaning the cops leave you alone right off the bat, versus you potentially have to go to court and prove that you're a patient. So
we even had a really unfortunate decision at the Washington State Supreme Court level, which they reaffirmed specifically that the police can arrest medical marijuana patients over and over. They can get the same guy over and over and over and haul him back into court. And each time he can present his credentials and, of course, get the case thrown out if he shows that he wasn't breaking the patient limit.
Yeah, and I mean, that sounds so insane to average Joe American, but that's the affirmative defense.
And that's and to be fair with Normal, to maybe say a little other side, and that's where they've done it the wrong way.
Who's they?
Normal.
Okay.
The medical marijuana versus recreational thing. Because of those rules and the things we sit and talk about people, there's certain no bend at the knees. People are getting screwed still because of medical marijuana, quote unquote ruse or whatever. I can see that. I see where that frustration comes from, and then that drive of want to get that over with and go. But still, you guys are driving a semi-truck, and you have patients sitting in front of you that can't get out of the way while you slam on that gas. Understand that, please. Please. Stop writing these things you are writing, please. And I'm sorry, Steve, to have you on when I say this, but I think maybe in some ways you feel sort of the same way that I do. So, so I apologize, man. And we went to
and we're going to go see crazy. Okay, in Arizona.
Steve, tell us to shut up at any time and you can hang up.
As those dispensaries, as their dispensaries open up in Arizona, what happens as part of the Arizona language, the patients then lose their right to grow.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's about to happen. And so that'll be interesting to see how that reverberates throughout both the average Joe community and the medical marijuana community, and if that was a necessary trade-off to get that passed. Because all this shit comes down to that. It's not like somebody at Normal sitting there saying, oh, we want 5 nanograms. It's a bunch of polling crap and money crap.
Politics.
And it's looking, can we pass it? Can we not pass it? I mean, we sit in a state that has one of the dumbest things ever in 6 plants and 2 ounces. I mean, as you know, Tim, a longstanding joke is if you only get 2 ounces from 6 plants, you need to stop being a caregiver or growing for yourself because you're really bad at it.
For real.
Okay? But, I mean, that's the only
You're really bad at it if you can't get 2 ounces off a plant.
Yeah, but
one plant.
So instantly, you're over the limit, but the problem is that's what the polling numbers said. And to get something done and to get what we have here now, we had to pass that insanity. And it's taken, 12 years to get to the point where the registry and the Department of Revenue now have a separate system that formally acknowledges extra plant count. And finally, July, they changed the patient application so the doctor has a space to put in the extra plants and the extra weight. So, only 11 years. But hell, it was 70 plus years of prohibition. So that's quick.
You're exactly right. That when legislation language is driven by polling numbers, you come up with some weird, almost unworkable stuff like that. And that's exactly what the ACLU did here in Washington. Is they did polling, and they discovered that Joe Sixpack is concerned about driving under the influence of marijuana. And, of course, largely people who are really concerned about marijuana-impaired drivers are people who have never smoked marijuana. If they had smoked it, they would know that it's not a big problem.
Yeah.
But since they got those polling numbers, they adjusted the language of their initiative to reflect that, and then they put in the 5 nanogram per milliliter limit, which is supported, not by science or by anything other than just people are worried.
The level should be at 13 to 25.
People are worried. It's not a good basis to write a law.
It shouldn't even be a rule because there's already DUI laws that cover it. So 13 to 25 nanogram lin is where it should be and where the rules are coming out to be. You don't see. We got to cut out here pretty quick, but one of the things that's important we need to remember and remind people is that William Breeze went through this process and had this done, and Dr. Alan Shackelford took care of the testing. This is a leading cannabis person in the industry. No farking around.
Grad.
What's that?
Harvard grad.
Yeah, Harvard grad. Amazing person. That talented, very talented person. And it's like William took the hit for the team. He tells me. See, I talk too much. There's some stuff that Williams talked about, and he took a hit for the team on that, man, and went 13 hours without smoking and doing anything, and he still went and popped a 13 nanogram limit.
Exactly. That's the problem with that 5 nanogram limit. Is patients are never going to be below it. I offered to do that myself here in Washington.
I bet you I'm at 24 right now.
It's unworkable, and I couldn't get the Seattle Weekly to spring for my blood test.
Feels at 500.
Well, hey, do you know how? Okay, let me ask the icky question: who draws the blood and how?
Apparently, once the officer decides
got to be an EMT
that you need to be tested, they have to take you to a facility. He doesn't whip out a syringe and take your blood by the side of the road.
Okay.
But see, Warren, I was like, I got to be an EMT, and Warren gives me the look like that ain't always the case, man. Because you know what? Colorado State I think CSP troopers are also EMT type, and they can do it. They can draw your blood too. So you get pulled over by a CSP.
Right there.
Right in there.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I heard another story of another friend last night being pulled over and just honestly, being true. You saw that.
Yeah, and we won't get into names, but yeah, I did.
But did you give her any examples of maybe like private message or say or what she maybe did and didn't do right there? Did she do everything right that she needed to do basically?
Part of the problem is that we're in such a different world here in Colorado, and so the listeners
people have no clue what we're talking about.
What the hell we're talking about? A friend of ours was driving home and is a medical marijuana patient, and this person had a small amount of cannabis on them. And because this person knows very good centers, the cannabis undoubtedly reeked. And when she got pulled over for a bad headlight, I could lecture her endlessly for the bad headlight thing. And yada, 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 because that's always how they get you, headlight, taillight, or registration.
The one law at a time, break one law at a time.
Exactly. Well,
and not that she was even breaking the law, but you got to have to think that the cops think
the second one's questionable.
The cops think that you're breaking the law.
So she gets pulled over, this person does, rolls down the window, and allegedly the car smells like cured cannabis, meaning dried cannabis, but cops use cured. And the officer immediately questioned her about this. In the old day and age, what a lot of the people that posted on her page indicated is correct, and that's that you do the step out of the car, close the car, lock the car, and chat with the officer outside the car. The problem is in Colorado, that scent is probably grounds for probable cause without an effing warrant.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're probably going to end up with the cops sitting in your car right then. It's going to depend on exactly what the cop says.
And it's going to be
and whether it's cured, whether it's burning, or whether it's growing.
And if they have a dog.
And what the cop's training is.
And a dog, too, is another thing. Is dog alerts. That's obviously something that's
dog
there.
alert's a whole nother deal.
You got 15 minutes. You got 15, 20 minutes for the dog to show up, by the way, for the Supreme Court to say that that's the amount of time that they can keep you, I think.
And you just got a mess of a situation where it just becomes highly debatable. And our courts would probably allow, if it's the smell of burning weed or dried weed, the cop to search without a warrant.
Bullshit.
Okay? So at that point, she's dealing with trouble. If she locks herself out of the car and steps out of the car and talks to the cop there, she's probably dealing with trouble as well, because we just talked about the cop's probably going to say, okay, I think you're intoxicated, and make her do the roadsides, which are designed for her to fail, and then she's dealing with that situation.
And how are you going to roadside somebody that's marijuana? There's nothing out there. There's no real...
Well, they still do it, man. They do it every day over and over again.
I hear.
You stumbled, you
Steve,
did this, you did that, and we have the performance test crap.
Do you hear the green tongue thing at all from your friends at all? I hear friends that get pulled over and the cop goes, stick your tongue out.
Mm-hmm. But she is a medical marijuana patient. She got ballsy, said, I'm a patient. The officer said, show me your card. She showed him the card.
Showed him the weed.
And I don't think, did she?
He said he wanted to see the weed. At least that's what they posted up.
And it was shown to him, and he let her go on the merry way with a warning for the bad headlight.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
And see, there's that, but then there's also, on top of that, I'm so glad that she did not get hammered down, because, Steve, as we've been talking about here, the whole DUI thing, they will still get you on a DUI here in Colorado.
Yeah, DUID.
DUID, because we do not have... That's why I say we don't need that rule, because there is already...
Yeah, but it's not number-based, it's performance test-based. So that's why
here. Right now, we already have a DUI drugs law.
Exactly.
But it is based on actual impairment and not on some, per se, 5 nanogram per milliliter limit. I think what the law we have now is sufficient. But unfortunately, the people who drew up the language for I-502 felt they couldn't pass it without putting that in.
Well, and Steve, it's like, why couldn't the
I102? I just love the numbers for all this
I guess they just think they'll get screwed to the wall politically. But I mean, I don't understand why it can't be emphasized that it's not like we don't have
laws already in place.
Like it says you can't.
It's like, oh my god, there's this new drug. Like there's just nothing to protect it when there is.
Well, and we don't have numbers for pharmaceutical drugs.
No.
Exactly.
But there's no proven number out there, period, for cannabis.
Well, exactly. But I mean, and why couldn't
each
that
number
be
is going to be different for everybody too?
But why couldn't that be pitched to average Joe softball guy? I mean, come on, man. There's no numbers for this other stuff because the numbers don't work, and it should be performance based. Yay, we live in America. But for some reason, people don't think that will play well with, I guess, the voting public. I disagree, but that's what we're at.
Yeah.
I disagree as well.
Man, we're winning the war. There are some battles that, and frustratingly, that we do lose. And California is a great example of what they've gone through over the year. I need a drink of water here. There's no water. California is a great example of having to go through everything they've gone through. They've had the good, the bad, and the ugly. Colorado, I think we may start to see maybe some good, the bad, the ugly here.
Let me take a back step though, and this is with apologies to all my clients and friends who are in the industry and hurt by the industry. It's really interesting that we're sitting here with 280 retail stores in Denver, plus or minus 10, and people are pretty upset that we're going to